Hello everyone, welcome back to this Voiceflow tutorial. In this one we're going to be discussing the image, card, and carousel steps, right? So far we have majorly been working with text and APIs and Google Sheets and Airtables. So in this next set of tutorials we'll talk more about images, we'll talk more about carousels, we'll talk more about cards, and we'll also talk about a database, right? Actually connecting to a database, and the database we're going to be using is called Supabase, right? And I'll take you through how to quickly get started using Supabase, and yeah, it should be a fun set of tutorials. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do is to open up the image step so we can see. So it's a pretty easy step to use. Just click for browse to browse for the images you want. I already have a bunch of images arranged, so I can just pick one of them, right? And okay, so let's do that again. Great, so you can see you can give your AI the ability to send images to the users, right? Yeah, but sending images in and of itself is powerful, but it is a bit limited, right? So what you would typically want is that you want the images to have like text, right? Maybe a description, or maybe a link that links to somewhere else, or links to your website or something, right? And that's where the card and the carousel steps come in. So the card step helps contains that, like, you're able to put in that kind of information along with the image, but the carousel step is now a combination of various cards. So we can see that now. Just drag the card step here. So you can see now, instead of just dropping images alone, you can now enter a title, and you can enter a description as well. And at the same time, you can add buttons. We'll look into that very soon. But before we proceed into cards, let me come back here. You can also use a link, right? So you don't always have to upload your files. You can use a link, right? I'll also show us how to set up a website where we can upload our images to and then access those images via links, right? But in case you don't have anything like that, Voiceflow automatically provides you with a link that you can use as well, right? So you can basically just use this link and it would always take you back to this image. Good. So now let's move back to the card. The card, again, we can upload. So let's upload this. Great. So the card has been uploaded. We can add a title. We can say location Bali, and then a description and image from Bali, right? So you can see it's updating here as well. You can also add buttons. So the label of the button, let's say we're like a holiday booking service, right? So we can say maybe click here to book in, right? And then we can then add some actions, right? So Voiceflow is pretty powerful. So if you add actions, so the actions, what will happen when you click this button? So it can go to a particular block. You can go to an intent, right? Those are not so, at least I've not seen so much use for those yet, but then these other ones here are pretty cool, right? So you can set the variable, right? You can open a URL, right? Like now that will be appropriate for this. Click here for booking, and then it opens a URL, and then you're able to go to your website, or your users are able to go to your website and they're able to complete their booking over there, right? And then you can also access an API the way we've been doing so far, right? We could also, execute some certain type of code, and we can also, invoke a component, right? So many things you can do here. And so let's click open URL, and then we say I don't have any URL, so we can just say go to url.com, right? So that's our URL. Right? So if I go back now, so this is one thing. You can also add another action, right? And then this time you can maybe set a variable, right? And maybe you can do an API step, right? In this case, maybe you can send a post request to maybe a database table, right, where you have been, like, we are trying to track the number of users that are going to your website, right? So you can do that here if you want, right? So that's so many things you can do, right, with these with this card step. Good. Now yeah, we're done with that. Now let's look at the carousel step. Carousel step is this. Oh, okay. Let's reload this again. Okay, good. So now we're in the carousel step. It's similar to the card step, but this time you can add another card. So you can add multiple cards now, right? So yeah, so let's just upload an image. Let's do Japan this time, and then so you can also instead of just typing out the title, you can also use a variable to set the title, and you can also use a variable to set the description, right? We'll still see how to do all this much later, but it's basically the same thing we've been doing all so far in the previous tutorials. So now we can just say location Kyoto, and then image from Kyoto, and then we can add a button like we did the last time. Just say click here. It's a for booking, I think I used to in the last one, but anyways, then actions can go to open a URL. So basically just repeating the same process as last time. Good. So now we are good here, right? So now we can add another card. So let's do that. So this is card 2. So browse again. This time let's do Kyoto and Bali. Right, then so location Bali, then you can say image from Bali, like that. And then yeah, one other thing you can do is that you can convert one of these guys into a link, right? So you can bolden, you can italize, you can underline, right? So let's undo those. And at the same time, I don't know what this is. Okay, you can strike out. That's fine. But at the same time, you can also make this into a link, right? So you can also say maybe oh no, let's use google.com. Right? So we can do that as well, right? And now you can always just hover over this and then click that, and it takes you to google.com. Good. So now yeah, then we can add another button for this as usual. Just come here and say click here for booking, right? And then your actions, open the URL. You can say go to url.com, right? And then yeah, now you're good. You have 2 cards within your carousel, right? So now let's just see if we can just make a simple but from this so that we can just see how it works, right? So we can just say hi, here are the the image, card, and carousel steps. Then you can just join this to this, right? Join this to this, and then lastly, okay. I don't think I want this anymore. How do I delete this? I don't know. So I think let me just click on this, then hit the delete key. Okay, that works. Great. So is it from here? Okay, great. So we can add that here now. So we can run the entire flow and see how that works. Okay. Good. So notice how it doesn't move on to the next card or to the next block, right? And that is because we did not give it an instruction to be able to move on to the next block or to the next intent, right? So yeah, you can click here to go to booking, right? We went to go to url.com, right? And then it then moves to the carousel step. So that's one way to move on from that issue, right? But then obviously the cleanest way would be for us to program it. So we can come here and come here to this portion here and then add a new button, right? So we can say do nothing, right? And then actions, so we'll go to block instead, right? So instead of performing any of all these actions here, instead of performing all those actions, right, we'll go to a block instead. So the block we're looking for is block 15 because this is 15, right? So new block 15, and then we can just go back. And yeah, so now we have a new button that just moves here if we don't want to book. So now we can just come here, reload this. Good. So it gives us the option to do nothing. So if you click do nothing, then it moves on to the carousel step, right? So yeah, that's basically how to use the card, carousel, and image steps. In the next video we'll go a bit further and discuss how to place these images in a URL and also set up our Supabase database. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.